So yeah, The Wrath of Becky, it just made it into my top 10 films of the year so far. And I say so far because there's a ton I haven't seen yet, and of course the year's only half over when I'm recording this. So a lot of time and a lot of movies. But currently it's on my top 10. I think it's fantastic. So The Wrath of Becky is of course the sequel to the film Becky that came out I think in 2020, but it came out a few years ago. And this one basically kind of picks up right where the first one left off. And then there's a 2 year skip. And the film, in a very creative ways, during the credit sequence, in like animations, shows what Becky was doing throughout those 2 years. And I'm not going to talk about the first one. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's a blast because I don't want to spoil what happens in it. But basically, the Wrath of Becky, like I said, 2 years. She's living with a elderly woman, and she basically befriends her in a very loving, caring way. Well, one day, Becky on purposefully pisses off a group of people because they're disrespecting her. They're being, in lack of grander words, they're being assholes, perverts, all that stuff, and they follow her to her home, and chaos ensues, and they kill the old woman that Becky has been staying with, and they kidnap Becky's dog, who was a big part of the first one, so it's a big part in the second one. And Becky's like, "Yo, time for vengeance. They killed my best friend, my," and I think she basically views her as like a motherly figure, but that's just my own interpretation of it. And she's like, "I'm gonna get my damn dog back because dogs are awesome. I love dogs." So Becky's revenge story goes on, and I'm gonna just get this out of the way now. The people that she pisses off and the group that she goes after, it's very clear that they're like replacements for like MAGA people and like super hardcore like Trump supporters, because they are like extremely sexist, and they are like extremely racist, and like they bring up topics that Donald Trump has openly spoke about, which I'm not going to get into because this channel is not meant for politics. But it was just something I realized, like, that they're very clear that they're a stand-in. But Lulu Wilson, who plays Becky, I could watch her play this character for the next 10 years for like 10 more movies. She is adorable. She is hilarious. She is super sweet 1 second, then an absolute deranged killer the next. She crushes every scene. She is wonderful. Second, the villain, or the head villain, is played by Sean William Scott. Stifler from American Pie franchise. He plays a really convincing villain. He's very stern and stoic, and he has like a really like calm but like evil face to him. That probably sounds extremely goofy, but it works. And this film is significantly more violent than the first one. Not in just the kills, but just in the amount of blood used. And I'm like, that's awesome, because you have to ramp it up somehow in sequels, and they ramped it up a good amount. And it's more intense. I like the first one, but it's safe to say I love this one. And and I never really connected to anything that happened in the first one, but I really connected to Becky's story in this film. So I felt it was much more intense. It's much more grindhousey. It's much more hardcore. I love this movie. I personally don't have any like negatives about it. Like like the pacing's good, the story's good, the characters are good, the acting's good. It's visually pleasing. Like there are some really good shots in this movie. The soundtrack is good. And I like how it ends, and I'm really hoping they make a third one. So yeah, The Wrath of Becky, I think it's a grade A banger. I would absolutely suggest checking out the first one, then checking out if you like it, check out the second one because it's very grindhousey, and not a lot of people enjoy grindhousey violent movies. So that being said, thank you for watching. Becky is a badass franchise so far, and I hope we get more. Like always, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and have a pleasant day.